So I just in my part of closing this, I want to thank all of you for coming and sharing your wisdom and just, watching everybody connect and talk about this. As Indrani and I said at our opening, our goal is to create spiritual influencers. People who will go out and make spirituality not such an oppressed topic, and to be able to bring it forward to help with flourishing, evolving, and well-being. And when I was walking the labyrinth the other day, as I was walking my brain was processing words, and I was thinking balance, collaboration, spirit, breath. So all these words kept popping in my head as I walked the labyrinth. And so I would encourage you to think about, is there one or more words that really resonated for you in this conference? And to, just to reflect on those powerful words that relate to spirituality, evolving and flourishing. Indrani, did you want to say anything?
Thank you to each and every one of you for making this such a memorable and beginning seed to begin our vision of how to bring spirituality and spirit to the center of our work and our professional and personal lives. It's truly been an honor to share this space with you and begin this conversation, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes.
And of course, we want to thank our sponsor, the United Way, sponsor UNBC, University of Calgary. Thank you to Ellen for your support in this as well, and the faculty and the comms team, the admin team, the catering team, the IT team. There's just so many pieces. So I would like to invite Leona up for our closing ceremony.
Gee, where does one begin after spending these last 3.5 days and talking about something that's always, it's dear to my heart, but it's not something that's out there. It's just something that we live, day to day, on a daily basis. I don't need reminders about my spirituality. I live it. I am the embodiment of spirit, my spirit, I jotted down a few notes because otherwise, to get my ducks in a row, the saying goes, but I didn't even know I had ducks, so you'll forgive me. So I jotted down a few things I thought to kind of keep my thoughts. Otherwise, I'm going to be here telling stories till 6 o'clock, so probably to an empty room by then. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for the organizers for having me, and thank you for the beautiful spirits that I met this week. You've made me feel richer, chatting with you, talking with you, being around you. So I just want to say thank you for coming into my space and, making my spirit grow. So that's how I want to start. But throughout the conference, like what we all heard is the cultures all over the world, we all practice, spirituality in different ways. There's no right or wrong way. It's just that whatever feeds your spirit, and that's good. That's what you choose, Nobody tells you how to do it and whatnot. But for me, spirit has always guided me to where I need to be. I follow spirit, and that's like I said, my internal GPS. That's what I follow, and tells me where to go, what to do. In times of challenges, it helps me through the challenges, Some things, make our spirit grow. Some things harm our spirit. I've been in situations where my spirit was really harmed for 2 years in a job, and that did not agree with me. But it took me 2 years to get out of there. So anyway, so how we use our spirit comes to us, I'd like to say, in the five senses. Through sight, we see things, and it brings us joy or brings us distress. But some of the things that we see, really feeds our spirit. I think of nature and how it feeds us. I think of what I see out in the environment, when I see ducks, when I see geese with their little babies. That just brings me great joy. That feeds the spirit, And then what we hear also. We've heard some wonderful words here the last few days, but also the singing. What are we hearing, And it's so important to take that in as well. That feeds the spirit as well, what we hear, And the smell. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, Taste as well, this nourishment that we've had for our body, the good food that we've had, and tasting food that I've never had before, and it's good to experience difference so that you understand and know. But that's also feeding the spirit. And smell. These two things I'll talk about now. The smell and the touch. It just brought me back. We went to Banff on Wednesday to go and meditate in the morning. But when we went to a church, and so when I walked in, and it was just, the smell just about floored me. I didn't know what to think at the moment, but there was a memory. Oh, okay. I did not like the smell. It was pungent. It was just not a nice smell. But I did not get the rage that I typically feel in my gut. I thought, oh, this is okay. I can handle this. And that's from a residential school. That I always, at 16 years old, I left residential school with this rage inside of me, and I didn't know what it was, didn't understand it. What do I do with it? But it used to come up all the time until I healed. So it was a really nice way for me to find out, hey, I've healed from this. Because I used to never even be able to go to hospitals. I barely visited my grandma when she was in the hospital. My dad, I forced myself to go. The smells. The smell, it smells like a residential school. The church smells like, bells ringing, can't handle that. Organs playing, can't. These were all triggers for me. But when I was triggered, and I thought, wow, I did not get an emotional reaction, just a memory. That's all it brought me, is just a memory. And I thought, hey, I'm over this now, because I no longer react from an emotional base that doesn't make me feel bad, So that was a really good thing, for me anyway, to discover that. So, and then I looked around the church, and I seen the benches. And again, it brought back a memory, but I kind of smiled. A little girl scrubbing those benches. That was our chores. We had chores to do every day, and we changed chores once a month. So that was my job for 1 month, and I would scrub those benches and mop under the things. And I'm just sitting there looking around, wonder who does this now. We don't have these little Indian kids running around doing all the cleaning anymore. So anyway, that was something, that brought me back, and I just wanted to talk about that, of how our environment touches our spirit, of how it shapes us as well, and either gives us, a good feeling, a bad feeling, or just neutral feeling. And I felt quite neutral. That's when I knew, healing has happened here, somewhere along the way. So anyway, these are called what you call triggers, so you get in life, you feel something when you walk in a place. For years, I don't react anymore. I don't get that gut feeling of rage anymore. Going into, say, a grocery store, and you see a mom berating her child, and the child is crying. Oh, I used to just want to go wring that mother's neck, It was a thought, I didn't act on it, but I would feel, because we were treated so poorly and so badly in residential school, and that's what it was triggering in me, is that maltreatment, that, physical, because I'd see these children getting pushed around by their moms and being told, shut up or I'll give you something to cry about. And I thought, oh my goodness sakes, talk about wounding the spirit of that child, And that's what happened to us in residential school. Our spirits were continually wounded over and over again. So 10 years I put up with that, So then when you experience that, you're going to come away with things that are not so good. So in my 20s, I said, okay, I don't like this feeling. I really don't like this feeling that I get when I walk into a room and I get an ugly feeling. I don't like this, and I get in a bad mood and whatnot. How do I overcome this, So I started going back to my elders and talking and whatnot. So they said, well, you need to come to sweats, So I would go to sweats and whatnot, and then I'd go to fasting. I fasted for 4 years in a row, 4 days, 4 nights, no food, no water, out in the land, and the only thing you got to talk to are the spiders, trying to keep them out of your lodge, Go away, you don't belong here, or the birds, So you walk around on the land and you're by yourself. And in our spirituality, it's a journey that you take on your own. Nobody can hold your hand. You do it on your own. It's an internal journey that you take, but within a community. We have a community of people that take care of us, but you're in there by yourself, out on the land, So it's those kinds of things, I think, that brought me to heal my spirit, to strengthen my spirit again, and to get to a place where I'm not reacting anymore. I'm not reacting to the external triggers anymore, So it's the ceremonies, horse dancing. My spirit animal is a horse. And, your spirit animals usually come to you in dreams. That's how mine came to me. So I had to go to horse ceremonies to honor my spirit animal. And the horses come to me and help me in so many ways, in prayers, in many different ways. He has been there for me. So anyway, all of these ceremonies I went to from my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and I started to expand. I want to learn more. I need to, study different things. So got back into the psychology. My degree is in psychology, but I got back into reading everything and anything. The self-help books, I really got into them. So that was in my 40s. And then I thought, later on, I think it was my 50s, and I did, this is so foolish as human beings, If trauma can happen in an instant, why can't trauma be healed in an instant? So I started searching and searching. I found it, and that's when I got into the energy psychology field and started working with that, and I thought, wow, this is really profound. This is what really I found balanced my energies. Whenever I do the tapping, it's tapping. It's what you call acupressure without the needles, and very simple. You do it on your own. You don't need anybody. Any kind of healing I've always done has always been on my own. I don't like groupie things, and that's from, again, the residential school, and I'm okay with that. I'm not a groupie person. I was even okay with riding that yellow bus to Banff. I was really okay with that. But I want to drive myself. I'll drive, So, and I don't like going in groups, like 20 people go someplace. With my family, it's a different story. Because I was so separated and segregated from my family growing up. So the weekends that we were together were very special, very meaningful, and I really cherish those memories that I have of going, like I always say, from 0 to 6 years of age, I had a very idyllic childhood. I had a beautiful childhood. Parents who were just wonderful, grandparents who were part of my life, and I was just allowed to be a child, to discover my own spirit, of how I wanted to be. And that's how we should be bringing up children, because we're in that still imaginative world until 6 years old. The rational mind doesn't kick in when we're 7 or 8 years old. So what's the point of trying to rationalize with a 4-year-old child? Everything is from intuition, right? So that's what we operate from. And it was wonderful. And then 6 years old, a tsunami hit for me, went to a residential school, and to go without parents, to go without the smells, the different food, the different language. My language was very minimal. I had older brothers and sisters that had gone to residential school, and they had come home with some English, so I picked up some English words here and there. I certainly was not proficient. So when I got to school, I didn't understand what was being said, what was being told. So if you don't move when you're told to move, we don't understand the word, you get shoved around, or yanked by the hair to go, yanked by the ear to go someplace. So until I learned what move meant, what go stand over here, or, when you learn those words, then you're okay, you can kind of protect yourself, but that came, not for a couple of years. And then the thing is, you forget all of that. You go home for 2 months in the summer holidays, you have such a great time, you come back, I forgot how to print my name. So I got hell for that too. But it wasn't a big thing for me how to print my name when I was in grade 1. So anyway, there are many things that I had wanted to talk about, but everything in spirituality for us is about that interconnectedness. We have a worldview in our culture. We have a worldview and a philosophy of life, and part of the way we explain, that's explained to me bits and pieces in my years of spending time with elders, is you finally put it all together, and some call it the medicine wheel, some call it the life cycle, but everything in that medicine wheel is interrelated. So we have the human race, that comprises of people from the Orient, people from Africa, people from Europe, and people from North and South America. And that makes up the one human race. So how do we manage, to live amicably and in harmony with everybody? So that's the part that I was taught. And then the stages of life, you come into this world as an infant and a toddler. So those first few years, what do you learn? You learn that sense of belonging. Where do you belong in this world? You belong with your family. I belong with my Cree family. That's who I identify with. That's where you develop your identity, is from your family in those first few years. You have a connection, you have a bond, and then you get into the 7, 8, 9 teen years, and you're really going back and forth between adulthood and childhood, and this is where the parents are like the rudder of a boat. They steer the boat for you. When you get off track, they'll steer you back in the right way, And then adulthood, and that's, you're on your own. From your 20s and 21 onward, you have to manage life. You have help still from the community, from your family and stuff, but basically, you're on your own. Where is spirit going to take you? Where is it going to lead you? What is going to feed your spirit? So the jobs that I've had mostly found me. I didn't really go out looking for them. They came and found me most of the time, or somebody said, here's a job for you, apply for this. So that's how I got most of my jobs in life, And again, I follow spirit, and sometimes Spirit, I didn't follow. Had a bad feeling, but I didn't follow my spirit. I went to this job for 18 months, and it just, oof, not for me, you know. So quickly found a different road. So if you follow spirit, it won't get you wrong in the wrong place. You just really have to pay attention and listen, and you continue feeding your spirit in a good way. You know, I talked about the 4 directions as well. They guide us. That's what Mother Earth taught us, how to live through those 4 directions, through what she does. You know, in the spring is our renewal time. Everything is new. The spring, our January 1st is in April for us, as indigenous people, because everything is new. That's our new year. You know, the ducks are being born, the deer are being born, and also that's when the fasting happens. That's when we renew our spirit after having been stagnant for the winter, you know. So that's when we do certain things. And the summertime is the gathering of berries. You know, I always say Mother Earth lays out a banquet for us. She gives us time to pick the berries in between, you know, like she brings out the raspberries and the strawberries first, and then the Saskatoons, and then the pin cherries and choke cherries, and finally the blueberries in the end, gooseberries as well, but all in different times, so to give us time to pick and put away. And that's what we did all summer long. But also it's a time of renewal of relationships with other First Nations, you know, through our powwows. Those are ceremonies, but it's a ceremony for bringing many nations together to rejuvenate, to enter in. That's how we used to enter into treaties long time ago, is between the tribes. That's why there were skirmishes and stuff like that, but no outright wars between the tribes in North America, because they had found a way to live in harmony with each other. And the respect, you know, like we talk about the land acknowledgements, that's been going on for thousands of years in North America. Those land acknowledgements are acknowledging that that's their territory. They used to send a scout first to go and tell the people, you know, we're moving in your area, is that okay? And usually they went with gifts and stuff like that. So once they were told, yeah, you can come, so that whole tribe would come, and they were a guest in that territory. So we're in Treaty 7, we're all guests here. You know, we're not the hosts, we're the guests. So I'd like to remind people of that as well too, when you go into different territories. Know the territory you're going into, you know, and to be respectful of that. Know the people there, know what animals live there, know what medicines are there, you know. So yeah, and talking about medicines, I think Darlene explained that quite well the other day with the 4 medicines, what we use them for. And how we use them, and then the 4 aspects of our physical. Yeah, the 4 aspects of who we are. I see this like mind, body, spirit, but missing one element always, you know. So it's mind, body, spirit, and emotion, because emotion is very different from the mind. Very different from spirit, very different from the physical. We feel something, you know, like when we walk into a room, we get a feeling. Do I feel comfortable? And do I feel welcome? You know, then you use your thoughts, you know. Oh yeah, I feel welcome here. You know, everybody seems friendly and stuff like that. So we're using all of that. So we have to incorporate that balance. You know, we talk about the balance in physical. How do we balance the physical? And it's through movement, through what we eat, what do we put in our body, you know, and how do we move, and things like that. So that's really important. And then the mental is, how do we train our mind? Like our elders told us, get a strong mind. Means develop a strong mind. That's what the elders used to tell us, and that means, you know, to be determined in something. If you want something, you learn. we're lifelong learners. You don't stop learning until you leave the physical plane, you know? Like we say, and nagataskit, that means he's left the earth. We don't say they died, we say he's left the earth. That's in our Cree culture, is in nagataskit, you know? So, you know, that's so important that we remember these things about the mind of our work, like we choose, or Spirit guides us to certain things. Like I was guided, but somebody put a seed in my brain. Back when I was working as a probation officer, the lady said, my boss said to me, you know, you should go to university. You know, you are intelligent, you can be anything you want to be. In the back of my mind, yeah, right. You know, Indians don't go to university. We're dumb, we're stupid. That's what the nuns told me my whole life, you know. So I never felt smart enough, and I always thought university was just for white people, you know, for smart people. But she planted that seed in my head, and I did go to university because of her telling me that. So it just takes one person to say something to you that doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but to you it meant a whole lot. So then I did. I went and finished my university, and, you know, because of her, I thank her to this day, you know, that she put that seed in my brain. So, and then the spirituality is, that's your spirit. There's no getting away from it. It's in you, day in, day out. You know, like I said, you come with spirit into the world, and you leave with spirit. You know, you leave your physical body behind, but you leave with spirit. So there's no getting away from it, but it's what we do with spirit that matters. You know, when you're discontent, you're not happy, whatnot, that's because your spirit is not being nourished. You know, we think to ourselves, why am I feeling this way? Why? You know, well, because you're not feeding your spirit the things that it needs. You have to continually feed your spirit through the things that you do, through the things that you eat, the people that you surround yourself with. You know, you really need to do that. With us, it's our ceremonies and our community things that we do. Like we feast together, we laugh together. There's always joking in the Indigenous community. There's always lots of laughter, you know. But you need to be, like I said, the spirit journey is very individual. Nobody tells you to go do something. There's ideas that put in your head by the elders, you know. If you want to come and sweat, we do it on this day, you know. So they leave it entirely up to you, and it's your choice whether you choose that. And your spirit will guide you there, and that's what guided me to all those sweats and fasts and all the ceremonies that I did, you know. Sundanced in the Kootenai Plains, you know. Beautiful, beautiful weather there. So anyway, these are all the things that help us as individuals to grow into ourselves. You know, the spirit is what helps you grow to who you are.